Hello. A while ago, I said I would start filming videos, and I have filmed precisely 0 videos, so I thought I might as well film this. We'll see where we end up. So this is an Amiga 500 Plus. This is my Amiga 500 Plus from 1991. And a couple of weeks ago, I invested in this. Oh, and I dropped it. I invested in this. So this is a Gotek external drive. And the idea behind this is you can basically use a USB in substitute for a floppy disk. And then you can connect this to the Amiga, and the Amiga, as far as it knows, is still reading the same stuff, only it's reading USB. And the added, it's going well, this already. The added benefit of this is that it can be used as an external drive. It's been wired up accordingly. Now there's a problem with this, which I found when I was testing it out earlier today. The way that the Amiga internals work, the internal floppy disk, the internal floppy drive, I should say here, is considered DF0 in the internals, and it's the first place the Amiga will look for what it's booting. So typically a floppy disk, the Amiga 500 Plus could also have hard drives, so it would look there first if one's connected. It's all done again by the internals, by circuit bridging and whatnot. When it doesn't find anything, it'll look at the floppy disk. When you connect an external drive, that is considered DF1. And you can chain them together. You can have up to 3 external drives. So DF0 through DF3. But the Amiga will always look to DF0 first. Much in the same way that if you think of it in terms of a Windows C drive, it'll look there before it looks anywhere. And the problem with the Go drive is, whenever I try to run something, it will initiate a process, it'll see DF1, and it'll run whatever I tell it to run. But after a time, it will always go back to drive DF0 as its main boot source, because most disks were designed that way. And there are 2 options. Most retro Amiga owners just remove the floppy drives. They either don't work or they're redundant because they don't really do much with floppy media anymore, and they just substitute the Gotek straight away. I don't really want to do that because this floppy drive does still work, so I'd like to keep it inside. The other option is to use something like this. So this is a custom PCB, and the idea is that you have the board itself, and then you've just got a toggle switch as well. There we go. So the idea is that in one state, there we go. Let's show. So I think that's possibly the best we're going to get. In the open state, DF0 is the default drive. If it's then switched, that then becomes DF1. So the Amiga would then look to, in this case, the Gotek as its initial loading source. So that's going to need a little bit of modification to the internals. So first of all, just in this flapping around a bit, this is just my anti-static bracelet. So I'll just hook that in. And I've already done some of what I need to do here. So if I just lift the lid, you'll see we're not connected to power over there, not yet. Because unlike most modern PCs, when the Amiga is connected to electricity, the entire back row has access to that, and it is possible to actually damage the board by plugging things in and out before we even talk about what's going on in here. So I've already been in here, as you can see, because it's just listed straight off. I've removed this cable and this cable, which is what the floppy disk the floppy drive uses. And what I need is here. So this is the even CIA chip. You can see there's a second one over here, the odd CIA chip. And these 2 chips combine to allow the Amiga to read from media. So what I need to do is take out this temporarily, put this in its place. Let's go over the top, and then the chip will go back in on top. And then the switch will allow me to choose which drive is the primary drive. So just, where's got my chip remover. This was actually sold from AliExpress as a way to open phones. I have not seen a single phone that would fit in, but for chips, it's actually very helpful. So I should probably swap the bracelet this is on, the hand that the bracelet is on. One moment, please. Thankfully, this desk has metal at both ends. So if I was doing it properly, there's a screw here that I could remove and then just pull the drive out entirely. That means removing the keyboard, and it is a quick job. So I just need to get in under the chip. Now, you can see there's a capacitor there, so I need to be very careful with how I do this, because I don't want to be levering against anything. Okay. It's nice and gentle. Try with the, again, I'm trying not to put any pressure on that capacitor. Here we go. So I'll swap now. I've got a bit of purchase. Have a thinner tool now. Just want to start. Gently going along. I don't want to bend pins, ideally. But if I do, I can bend them back. I think we're starting to get there now. Just need a little bit of help on the other side. There's two capacitors here, so, you know, make life easy. I wonder if we can get... Okay. Almost. Oh, right, okay. So I think we've got some bent chips. Let's have a look. So, yeah. So we've got this one. We can just nice and slow. Nice and slow. Bend it back into place. They're very old. Very old. Okay, I think we're all right. So, okay. So the chip's out. You can see it's socketed as well. So, yeah. Nice Nice removal that. I was concerned that one of the chips might. Just gonna be very gentle. Very gentle. So I don't want to bend it the other way too much. Okay. On the plus side, these chips are quite easy to come by. Some of the more custom Amiga chips that you can see, there's Denise there. Paula and Gary are a bit easier to get hold of. The Denise and the 500 Plus was an enhanced version, so they can tend to go for about 40 quid now. And I will just, is the keyboard loose? Okay, yeah, okay. You can see here Agnus. The version that's in this one is an 8375 that can go. I've seen that between 65 and what I think I saw one. Someone wanted 120 quid for one. Yeah, they are increasingly rare because the 500 plus version, I think it can handle more memory from I think. But yeah, they are scarce and they are desirable, so they are also valuable. So, a couple of things then, now that the chip's out. Thing to note here, maybe just zoom in a bit actually. There we go. So, you see it now? Yeah. So the even chip is just here. You can see there's a notch facing that side, and all the chips have notches that are facing that way too. So the chip needs to go back in the same way. Looking at this, there is also a notch on this. So the idea would be that goes in there and that goes in there. So I won't do anything with that chip for now. I'll just put that to a side. Let's just check the legs on this, because one of them was bent. Right, one of them, this one is slightly off. So let's just, there we go. Okay. Right, so let's put this in here. So just check it's the right one. Yeah. Okay, so make sure it's sat properly first. Nervous moment. There we go. Whew, not nervous at all. Okay. Right. And then this goes back in. Again, being careful. There you go. There we go. Right. Give it a good push, make sure it's in. Okay. Now, hopefully, I have no idea which way around that switch is. So you can see that's nested in there now. Move that slightly, there we go. So, yeah, nice and secure. So now, get this out of the way for a second actually. Put this back in. Okay, there we go. And where's the other one? There we go. Is this going to be an issue now? Nope. Okay. Okay. Right, so let's see what happens when we introduce power back into it. The power's here, so okay. So I tell you what, let's turn it on, see what happens. Will it boot? Okay, so that's interesting. So let me just try something else. One sec. Might be to do with the position of the switch. So I'll just flick the switch position. No, we've done it too early. Sorry, hold on. So, one thing with the Amiga, if you turn it off and on too fast, like that was a thing back in the 90s, it will in fact error immediately. And it's been a long time since I've actually remembered about that, so fair enough. Basically, I just got a Guru meditation, which is the Amiga equivalent of the blue screen of death. And I did wonder if it was something to do with the chip. It may still be something to do with the chip, but if you turn an Amiga off and on again very quickly, it can just outright error straight away. So let's give it some time. So what I'm hoping will happen when I turn this back on is that you will hear a clicking noise from the drive, and that clicking is the sound of the drive head looking for a disk. And the fact that we did not hear that when I turned it on before suggests that the position the switch was in, it was set where it was looking for an external drive it wouldn't find. So one of two things is about to happen when we turn this back on. Either it'll go through its boot system and it will C drive DF0 and you'll hear the ticking noise, or we'll see an error, in which case there's a problem. So I feel like that's enough time. Let's see what happens. That's encouraging. Thank God. Okay. Right. So, yeah. What you hear in there we go, is the sound of the drive seeking a disk. So do I have a disk handy? Let's have a look. I do. I've got a Amiga test kit. So if I put that in, obviously you can't see the screen, so this is going to be, you know, limited use, but okay, that's loaded Amiga test kit. So it looks like we've got a success here. Okay, brilliant. And that's how you hook up, and then, what's it doing? That's how you hook up a drive switcher. Just to show what happens the other way, so the switch has now been flicked, so it's now targeting DF1 as this, as the primary drive. So if we just turn it on, Okay, so you can still hear the ticks. They are just now coming from the Gotek. This actually has a speaker in it that mirrors drive noises. And then I just put this in. This is already set to play Canon fodder. I'll just run through and here it's now loading from the Gotek. And there we go. It works.